hotel te ala gotru le gususra ibdul maraklay marubukul belaw bilung biraklay mar masil belaw madirigal president ra senate senator Baules marugul senators speaker Anastasio marugul delegates adala justice Mirai Galaw marugul justices madirigal vice president senior marugul ministers tirasi lamangyat governors, electors, tugu bet sa susunod. Mura ka bela. Ngara ngayan mura ko chili, ngara akira ikil bela. El tiro como se ve no college que lo lleva amli diul. Kida malo marar sel tolo ase kada gira del el blow el metob rabuay madudura a public el gira la ayelia uka rula قبل من تريد مكمل وتلتالي مرينا سولي لا مستر سولي ملو سئل مقدر لا التوتاو إذا مالني بتوقع عمره ولد مستر سولي ما أقول قد غور عمله يديبوس يا أدمي إن موت تغير كودويشنا لاستوي مقدر مرال ديملا رجال أمليل تلدينار أمليل تمن قد غور ديملا مسان دي رالسيز مقتل هذا المقاسوس ما رونا دول مول من دي سوغر مقتلتالي Puedo tirar de trigue que debe el time. Recuerdan ahora momento of silence. El quiere la namo dibusado con el delegate que suele. Y da una me hacen el delegate, el deputy chief of staff, mal me cloa ukrelel morablur velan. Digan hacer otro una soga ni Mr. Gasole se smele. mal misery. دي كنت ترى دي كده moment of silence بدرت كي amen دري غمال أنا ولت طال مرة مش ركلاي كده مال مرينا سولم الوك نوسم الجوينر كده ويجي يقول له كوي قمنا fourth branch of government ما يجيب له السمريال مم قد قصويس مثل تام نمرقل تال ساندي قد مرال ديملا رجال أمليلت من ديملا قل سيد الهولدر سيل press conference رجيد دي سيل the week before قد مرال بلو الشيابال من قرا دي سواد الوعيس راسي مسيا دعنا بلو الشيابال نرايجل قرا عملو سيد المول ما قطروا له كده عملون الكوجيوا invitation al prime minister قدوك كده تريا قتل تريا المرة قتل كمية ساليت كوتو تريا دول يصير سيل دل ويلر جد من ترى أفضل دليل واسين كلهم صدر بلولاد للتاما أتيال فوكوشيما متيال nuclear power plant را فوكوشيما ما سيدهم واسين ألبس water ما ترى دول يترينا برايم مينستر هسه يجيبوا ومسرقهم دي أنا ريت الله ما يجيبوا مسات البلانت لين كمران الواسه as a leader إن نري عن level الدريغل دي دوساب دريغل جد المسار عمداد مقدم بينه لورول من سرقيبون يملوني أتى الله المو أرسل تاونرا إيواكي يملوسل أونوهاما سل غورا فيشينج processing center نارين سيرا دورين فوكوشيما أيال building التيرا ديملو ديبوس لين of course تيال دابا تيال تسونامي ديمل تيال building التيرا ما أيال تيال port ما ديمل تمال and now it's of course rebuilt مال وين facility. And I think one of the things اللي سوري demonstrate نيا سيال سوشيا مال دري قويل ما يجي مال ملعاني كرسل بلو ديم دخل قراق مال ده نسرق مال ولا تلم تمول ما يجي مال ملعان ما minister أي تارو غام تلري كده يشوف and I think it's important to demonstrate راسه you know I know راسه after cell earthquake تو سيال سير سامنام تمال يقعد على سيد المغال غال مغاري سيد قرا image راه دي you know هذا شابلا سلوك مال سودر تيرتي يوتلقوا معاي and they really take especially سلتو دورا تورا قال هذا بلول values food more than them sel galing maral sel always the highest quality. Mangari sel confidence git sel donga galire kada samarian mga galileng lungila tram temule wil galandi agimina of course agimina sushi at dire galori se tel plant tel facility they produce 100 tons process 100 tons ra ingi gara tal sales so everything from igale mackerel mora of course tuna soda 이게 soda tiramon maklo kampesin ko sa kinga mo isem klo ndiga igaru mo kachuo de kita ko amna mo da kayen maklo soda ri der kada mal dinga ra em lakke mo de anyway maybe other bela man betul ngarai but I give not say and then of course there's two things that I observed one I give not see the mana ka set portra iwaki I give boringe iga gumeseng igel mountains ra coal maguger tigara do se igel coal ngar igel me to sengar Australia so if you know after cell earthquake ada shabala manlo bigi kra igel nuclear power plant ter so they shut down 45 nuclear power plants and just to give you an idea an average nuclear power plant produces 4,000 megawatts of power the other bella de espera 10 to 20 megawatts they have 4,000. That's how much they produce. So imagine 45 shut down. So how many thousand megawatts were? Well, now the gigawatts. But that means a lot of coal is being imported into Japan to keep their electricity up and running. Agim ngarse of course kado makalal mora agi dele sel Fukushima Daiichi power plant Seldor Almongan over the years nari cell zone like 20 kilometers of blood close offering and then more 10 kilometer zone and then all the way up Melmer cell town and Arbitara tel power plant libre kadra fence tel power plant and so over the years they've opened up to make sure that it's safe they clean everything and then they open up that area and I got detectors masel tangara highway it shows us a radiation level on tela and cell last area cell right next to the gate of plant will opening in February so the mess was a cell furthest out of course in around the tsunami and then as you get closer very close egal bladrigam le vacant let them start to clean rather moving back into them so it was a terrible tragedy. I mean, we cannot imagine what the people of Cell Blue went through, but thankful that they've recovered and they're getting back to life as normal. Of course, inside the plant, if they're contaminated, and then I get water tanks. When you go in, and they got why they sell water tanks. And we went to sell main office, they have 4,000 people working to sell power plant. Their only job is to decommission. Until decommissioning will take 30 years. They got to take care of all the waste there, make sure it's secure, they got to contaminate. So cell process, of course, involves engineers, scientists, and we learned that the Japanese government is spending $2 billion a year on this process. Of course, part of the cell process, I tell them saying Alps water. What say? Alps cell treated water. So it's clear, brown, clear. So some of the things they have to do, of course, tierra continues to be contaminated with groundwater, meaning cell ul, ingari aral mermurtre ngula out, and more so is power plant and it gets contaminated. What say? Los pel cool rods. So those two types of water are contaminated. They take that water out, they process it, and then it becomes what they call Alps water. And they're the only thing they can say it removes Alps water and tritinium, which I guess automatically bonds with hydrogen, and they can say that and it's naturally occurring. Cell process Rosperi, of course, is being reviewed by the IAEA, and of course, it's going through the most stringent process and make sure that it's safe. Even sa nga sel site ngari tank with Alps water and ngari yaidre raira alsel maabaloni. And then there's regular seawater. They're also testing it. So if it's contaminated, how do these organisms survive, and what will be the impact? Basically, what they've concluded was, if it's out in the water, if it's exposed to what's in the tanks, after 24 hours, cell level drop basically more normal. But what they're actually releasing and more is mixed with seawater. So cell there was a parts per million. Cell actual amount that goes out is almost, so let's say 2 kilometers out from the plant, or 1 kilometer from where the outfall is. And it's basically normal water. And of course, that has to be a transparent process that everybody has to observe and make sure that it's safe. Most importantly, the Pacific, and most importantly, Fukushima, more impacted the fishermen. So they're doing all of this really to protect their people. And I think, one of the things that sharing they care about their people. It's right off their own shore. So they're doing everything they can to make sure that it's safe. And more other blue. And I think just being there to observe. And we toured the plant, more cell, bitar cell reactor number 1. It's interesting when you're away from the plant, just within the facility, it's like 2 kilometers. Cell level of radiation cell bomb a plant in Ngarbab. Detail level that's in Ngarbab are less than when you get on a flight and fly. When we travel, we're exposed to radiation. So, sometimes so one of the challenges they've had, the radiation was at higher levels. Do construction work, like one of them is they have to cover the building. They haven't been able to cover it. Finally, drop a level low enough, so construction has begun and more covering. So that keeps the radiation inside. Then they have to go in and get those spent rods out, and that takes time. That's why this process takes over 30 years. But I think most importantly, it's, and it was good to actually see that in person, to see what they reaffirm. They continue to uphold the highest standards in whatever they're doing. And cell announcement out of those 45 plant will shut down, they're going to be able to reopen over 30 of them. So that's good news. We want them to go back to using those power plants. That reduces their consumption on coal, which we know is the major contributor to climate change. And we cannot talk about transition, energy transition, a nuclear energy partnering. And I think that's something that get them understanding. And then, dirigal tara, dirigal salmadang liarad. And at time, ayeran will release a plant ngara Korea, mangara Sina. They have tritinium that they're releasing all the time. They've selom kulon gal power plant tia ngara alsen. A cell safe level and releasing it, it's 10,000. The level is 10,000. Cell releasing Fukushima 1,500. Says 10,000. I would say it's safe to drink. Okay, that's if it's occurring in water, it's safe to drink that water. Tira releasing at 1,500. By the time the tabdir el mixing below a 0.1. A cell releasing other Korea, Maradra Sina into the water now. Other Korea, Adabol or what Shabal will be releasing. A rather Sina 7 times. The thing will cell limit, the thing are cell maximum. I think that's where a little bit of the misconception ma misinformation and marahiling already got to power plant trablada, they need water to cool, and they release this type of water all the time. And I think the other thing I'm explaining is ngaregel baby ra ngara tela ralm el tira they have a process that extract agel was cesium agel other toxic chemicals agel orto tia brown ralm mesela tawding namum linsen the mentality gitu guru ase kada kongin mamli meri India, but basically it's clear water agel toxic chemicals, they take them out. So after second no said of course mitra a governor sel blue malum kada batemet magadim limiting am that one the hopefully at some point himself may visit Belau tiyema lo bada bel mara mountain mark the bola blue rire and kida some of the people bled share set other Bela our ancestors tira other sel blue angale teliget hulibert ge uka radala from Fukushima ngal current orikasa ngal ambassador ngal Bela nga adra Fukushima mingel governor sel blue uka hopefully someday he can come and visit us ding sol milisi sel uka dal willera dronga gal tablo blue and then of course the next time no yatele del mitra chairman Sasakawa mitra foreign minister and mitra prime minister sel kasus كده continue of course قد ما دورا أدرى شابلا بتوقع يجل كده مغل مطمقلا most importantly we كده a partner تيرا promoting a free and open in the Pacific ديوا أبلو رامريجا and I think that's an important as a partner told my secretary that make sure we're also protected among Prime Minister mo ay say dire mo sender ay igale defense vessels more frequent than may visit Trablur Belo mangaria I think there's this year there's another visit that's upcoming but at the same time in dire de lo mes was ngarai important projects that jointly benefit Trablur Amrigel benefit Trablur Belo for example a airport ma port the discussion and then part security economic security because they emphasize the importance of tourism kada malmol maloni te se al maria del me flight one thing that they did assure us was suma ernugini as well flight mer shabal was perbelao no problem maging ongering we have to do everything and increase our tourism rather than la bra shabal ma plur belao so basically saying fifth freedom minister se los penia ernugini mles stop prebela continue shabal or tagara okyagalme we would like to see that hopefully maybe by the end of the year tara potential of course ngani isel project ra blur shabal el bilski del upgrade airport rig matmo provide egal upgrade egal jetway sergid but a part sel bol provide isel do aseng APU APU sel APU sel of course en help rig a jela mos el mutel fly me len mos persigid set generator in case el bonia a problem ra generator askogi en sel mo askogi because until mal sel misir gidre langin they want that to be operational part from the grant tero that miskit segid el misil mangari ra blur bela hopefully help gidre ajal ma other airlines of course tamle reassure gidre was aurora minatobasi of course they're committed to it mamul mol gidam dengel botol activity gidat magal we also discussed with them of course at Togora fishing encourage a partnership announced mortilo se gida mal encourage a Japanese investment whether it's in tourism gida mal mrenga sulira o donkin la malis el hotel ramalal that's the first Japanese investment really since PPR and we want to see more of those dire mal me invite prime minister se mnuter meldinga kama mara blur belau alboniat leme degam lut bemol digra kama blur belau so say open an invitation kada gora mlat ko say hopefully in say me visit ridra sometime next year the 30th anniversary tel relationship magora miskeda positive feedback la say ngariate al and kida Diregal so otherwise was no teme del meter cell Japan Palau Parliamentary Friendship League. Kadamle meter tira o ais mergido hace temer belao ra Augusto. Now the degal tit cell league ame diregal trial young parliamentarians ame. So seragi mangarse ngora amna to se maybe triangala 20 other olvira shabala merablur belao. I think that would be the largest ever parliamentarian visit in Merablur Belao. Diela seral uka me pese tingil ambassadore. There's a possibility of 40 to 50 of them coming. So tiangil ais en merida other Belao leng you know ngo singi sel del will of course triga other olbir sel belul triga ba idibra blura shabal. So it's important for us build their cell relationship rigid loban terir ngari sel uldasura pesel fishing port el boloruri. We want to re-emphasize the importance of say real commercial port rigid my airport ayem close to trail el gira del adadur girel and they're an important partner among I think most importantly abro shabala mesa ser important sera belao make promoting a free and open Indo-Pacific ertialo tolwil gidra mangira blur amrigen it's important for them el Maktir Maradram Real, or Mr. Ablur Bela, was a Maralolici real, the Galitora security, but economic security, as a Ablol Lontider Mortira say, Omem expand our one way, Nungir Defense Department, Abluram Real, and Amo safer for their F-35s. The more importantly, Mongira Skogir community load our passenger, Momura Skogim, so economic benefits Mandiran Man, Maclo to trade. We continue to find again opportunities the joint use projects benefit the deal blue ramrigen blue shabal ultimately benefit together other belam mang blue shabal amal mol mal CCL salir and I believe la say maklo hotel level continue tmagaloro lo bantrir ngare project like courthouse other projects that they will continue to help us and make sure last week activity graduation attended mlabes say meda congratulated tigal together agel al mring el urerir duk plan oriakla and encourage them to continue a journey educational journey kida bekal silsil di dosu ideal gida stobel msu mang gada encourage gada say achieve the highest education level that you can achieve, but don't stop learning. Gida madayno sa hotel valuable resource gida other below. Sil hotel close to trail resource gida other below. My garogul program gida amras say magrado lisira magrado geta gida el moklisi ela belwat. And gida invest in them. Then dia gablugul al misisi agi zargid li benefit ra adrango doblo girel mo benefit ra ged girel maigal urior girel maigal teal girel the mistira the best opportunity ra a school among ambassador tayo ase malem gasar ngal apply mora set scholarship ra tayo dako sing amal to teal akara graduation of high school ra Eastern Oregon University also ase ayimla accepted 14 and possibly another 20 over 30 students amora Eastern Oregon. Es el programa Eastern Oregon basically with a Pell Grant and a scholarship you can go to school for free. Mal namo to atel el morangal get to really further their education. Es el school eleng mal nemring. The you know angal get atel. So they say ang artel morangal. It's Australia or they open up scholarship opportunities. Shabal, New Zealand. So please go out there. The opportunities are there for you to get into them. This is one thing that I learned. Rambesa, unkitarungo. Akara got 8th grade graduation. One question I asked Minister Jenkins. I say, so how many want to be teachers? I get 8th grade, and I went to 6 of them. Because Minister Jenkins, we have to do a better job in recruiting teachers. Retirement next year we have another 5 retiring. Another they retire. Where's the replacement? We have to understand what I say. Molding the future. Tara kotra important the field, but I think saya tara ula minister ase. Mono sa udu there sense. Ngire mo understand what say. Ngara value a teaching. Marang kita mo samarian mo sense, and they have to earn a decent living and will career. They can all change aklangar angal alwa akal sense. So congratulate the team, encourage them to do their best. Another thing that we're doing, and I think ngani atibel miscommunication maradom dosa sa budget ay iblam submit ni. Diriga kim submit ra budget. A budget mo boda submit ni till July 11 session. Internally we had what we call a budget call. I say ay mora local ministries mat kiril oldar sa ay gelon trira yo sa ngangalan maral merak. Maukti kamam other executive branch ay not makmar cabinet ukome sa budget ra each ministry ukti kamam renchuleng agi mal anticipate ra sa alal bonia budget gim submit ra budget olbira lola mo conducta a budget hearing ra executive branch mangiramal al monge oi sa adra blose maigal udo dri mo yo spell gire langara ngarat program mabodong atmok gire ra adra blu legal udo do ngoi ta girel kotrul mo benefit ra adra blu le mang kada encourage adra olbi lo ase oi executive branch montara gire del rule oversight hindi kam kita dire kam oversight ra sum ko ngara house ka do oversight ra senate ngara senate ko oversight ra house my god local state government le ultimately I think I get public hearing awulam klo to trela a help rather blue da se amu itela udo morger ngarger la udo del me e ga mo itgira la ngaral purpose mang gadamal encouraging it to all gadam say we have to most importantly be transparent and make sure I get a good program amo got and benefit rather belang so lastly by muteltele by the Mr. Ministers. Oh, there, come here. By Pastor da media mogera gere, of course, our ministers ang artial, sil share get updates at tir. Did you want to share something, Minister Jenkins first? If I could, please. Yeah, hala, ngora ka na graduations, mga mo could share something about the MOE at Open Aula. Sula.
Sula, Mr. President. Good morning. Sometimes we're so close to the problems, all we look at are the problems. And sometimes we forget all the good things that are around us. That's one of the best things about being in education. As Mr. President mentioned during our budget call, he said, dream on, which is, we do dream on. And you have to be an optimist to be in education, just because of the nature of the progress and the difficulties in getting people to appreciate the importance of education. However, graduation gives us one time that we can focus on the great things that have happened. And those are things, as I am disappointed that none of the kids are ready to follow in my career path. I didn't want to be a teacher until later anyway, so I'm not worried about it. The beauty of it is it gives us all a time to sit and enjoy the beauty of our children and the beauty of our communities. One of the 8th grade promotions and those goes on. That's not just a school activity. It's a whole community out there. And everyone is different in their own way, which is really cool. The nicest thing about it is when people are there who haven't been associated with the schools and they don't know what it's like. I had one person after the promotion ceremony in one of our Babeldav schools mention, now I understand why you want to spend so much time with these kids. These kids are great. That's totally reaction on what they saw that day. And it's true. We are so fortunate with the children of Palau. They are remarkable individuals. After the high school graduation, I was approached by a kind of a delegation of people from outside of Palau, from Eastern Oregon University, who came up, and the first thing they said I thought was very interesting. They said, I can't believe this was a public school graduation. And I didn't really understand it that much because to me, it was just a beautiful graduation ceremony here. But they're from the mainland, where public school graduations are not like that, and where they're always worried about someone doing something or something happen. And so when we got to talking about it, of course, they were here to recruit students. And by the end of that graduation, I think they would have taken all 106 if they could have. But I think that's one thing we really need to learn to be appreciative of, that we have problems. We have big problems in the Ministry of Education, but most of those we can solve. You know, there are others which we have to deal with, and I'll address those just a little bit. But it's a year this has been really a year of change in the education system here. And I want to take this opportunity to give special thanks to the principals and to the teachers and to the parents for being so patient and being so understanding of what we're trying to do. Let me just run down a quick list of what's happened just this year. A new calendar, year-round calendar, implementation of a new program of kindergarten, a new school-wide information system with the imposition of electronic grade books of the teachers and electronic grading all the way around, school specialists being taken from the central office and being placed in the schools to mentor and assist the less experienced teachers, a new reading program being implemented, which is computer-based and allows individualized instruction for students, a Be Able, which is another content-driven system that enables, like we've never been able to do before, in all content areas, deliver information to the students at their individual reading levels. That's never been possible before. And we have all that here now. And we're beginning the implementation this year, but we had to continue the training longer than I had originally thought. Now I understand why. Plus we had electronic issues, connectivity problems, and now PNCC has been wonderful about upgrading our systems. And so we're very close now to being able to deliver on all we have hoped to do. So this new school year is going to be we talked about this last year, as a teacher touches the future. But now we really have to face it and say our future is now. We have to do it now. And we're going to get it started. In fact, right now, the teachers are all engaged in professional development to work on how to implement these systems to their best purpose. But why are we doing so much so fast is what the question is often raised. And it's simply because these kids deserve it. We can do it, we can get it done, but we have to work harder and we have to change our way of doing things. We have to, first of all, recognize that what we were doing in the past may not have been in the best interest of the students. May have been in the best interest of teachers or best interest of other people. Every question we face now has to be addressed and say, does this help our students learn? If the answer is yes, then we're going to do it. If the answer is no, we're not going to do it. But that's clear, laser focus on what's going on in the classroom. And that's something which we need to never forget. I just introduced a group of new teachers into the school system yesterday, and some simple suggestions we have to do. Don't sit behind your desk. Go around, move around the kids. One of the simplest things people can do to improve instruction, which is really so simple it makes you feel embarrassed you're not doing it, smile. They've done actual studies where teachers who were taught to smile in class, students learned better than those who were told, don't smile at them. There's a certain amount of, as we learned during the online days, you can't replace human interaction right now. It just can't be done yet. But that's important for us, and we are going to, this is the year of full implementation of those programs. However, we did receive our Iowa test results. I just got them yesterday, so I don't have a complete analysis done, so I'm not releasing anything yet. We're going to go over this, but I want to give you just a real ballpark of what's happened. In the past 2 years, all across the board, we've implemented Iowa all the way down to first grade level in testing that to get the assessment. We have, in 2 years, improved our average scores over 7 percentile points. Percentile points are the number of students, percentage of students scoring below you. So we've climbed out of the 20s, and we're now moving into the 30s, which means our students have now passed hundreds of thousands of other students in their achievement. It's a big deal. It's a very important thing for us to focus on. Now, we're going to do breakdown analysis as to what else we can do. But I think with this year, with our new programs going in, we're going to continue to see this improvement. And this is important because it's not just one group that's moving. They're all moving in a positive way. I particularly want to point out to the high school teachers and administration, those are where the greatest gains are being made, which is the opposite of what most people would think. But that's where we're really showing tremendous gains. We have improvement of over 13 percentile points. It's huge. It's huge. But an average of 7.3, I'll take it. I'm hoping for more. I'm hoping for better. But I think we'll be doing it with these new programs. And then another thing happened is that the president mentioned we all need to continue learning. And sometimes I forget that. And I had a great school lesson taught to me this week by two young women, both Palauan. One is Benny Masubada, and she is, of course, listen to this title, she's the Associate Vice President, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging at Eastern Oregon State University. She's the person responsible for getting our kids there. She is also a special person in Oregon. She's responsible for special programs for COFA students, which means Palau, FSM, and Marshals. She has also made it possible for our students to receive resident tuition, which is a huge difference. So as the president mentioned, with the resident tuition and housing there, their total cost is going to be less than $20,000 a year, which with Pell Grant would take that down even more so, probably down into the 13, 14,000. So it gives our scholarship board a real opportunity to provide full scholarships at much less than the current levels they've had to do in the past. So that's a tremendous thing. And that's something that we always bemoan the fact that the Palauans aren't coming back. Well, she's doing more for us there than a lot of people here are doing for us. So I think that's another thing. We need to broaden our outlook into how the world really is changing. Another thing was brought up to my attention. It was someone who's been working with Director Kilcullen for several months, and they made a presentation to me last month. And it's this very simple little flash drive. This little flash drive holds more information than every school library on this island. It has on it, just as a sample, a full curriculum of science materials from K through 12, and also has room for all kinds of other things to be going on there. They gave these to us. These are free. They've given one to every principal and and teachers to implement in their school. We were going to be adopting a new science textbook this year at the cost of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, now we have materials we can use this year for free. Plus, they are going to continue to work with us to assist us to get them, tell them what we want, and we want more literature for our students. And so they're already working on it. And it's all done through a nonprofit organization at their school. It's a co-curricular activity. This is in top of their studies. And they have identified us as one place they want to help, because one of them is Palauan, and she is now in charge of it. And she's only a sophomore, I believe, in college, so it's a very impressive young woman. So I was taught these very important lessons by these two girls. Here I'm sitting here with a doctorate, and they're telling me how I should be doing things, and they were right. After leaving, I just said, we have got to get more of that. We have got to become more like them, and less worried about what the difficulties we face are, and start looking at the opportunities that we have in front of us. So I think the good news is that our students are progressing. We're not there yet. We still have our goal. We want to be at least the 50 percentile rankings, but we're actually in sight of those now. And we have the new programs going in that I think are really going to help us continue to improve the education system for the children. And I just want to remind us all, especially me, that I can have the greatest ideas in the world, but it's the principals and the teachers who make it happen. And they have been wonderful in changing their way of doing things, and that's asking people to do a lot. So we'll continue to work on developing the profession in people's minds as something they can do, but for right now, I think we can really do special things with what we have, and these new opportunities that people are giving us. As he said, we have now close to 20 to 30 students who are going to be going on virtually full tuition rides to Eastern Oregon University, which is a great thing to have for them. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Untuk President, kauma Vice President, Minister Obiang, Minister Jenkins, Chief of Staff. Thank you, Minister Jenkins, for that presentation. Thank you. Such a very insightful and lots of information to think about. Very important. So, President, kata kari ka ekorakaw, kata mletat sel trip program na siya pal sel tokora nuclear. Ikal treated wastewater, nuclear plant water. Tidak tokol other belang sel tokora abru belang betoka tokoy mga orang sa mga tidak di okay legal question mga si ML kadira mo otat sirngin. Di agera wasin. So abulur bela wa a partra Pacific family. Ani agel bela abulur region. Kadira kal sel al amr rasyaba leka wasi. Ndira kal betoka bela abulur Pacific. Ma adiregal civil service civil society organizations el diregal oppose ti altoy ngargi sel kora sepak rengerti del wasi kado uspe al mutrom sul girel tiang mang egaul president bela wa mkora ti kaul tangun la to del el low icer sei mang a question ngal merga wasi sei gidel social dru lela So sigue el dru lela el posición radical pepira blura pacifica kora me consider ngira o worte aquí de condición pero así aquí support mato kora maintain si kora imol el family sigue dia
sel kota klau tutelan sel klaumra kida ngari se klaumra adro ngole ma sel ukkido mesriya wase adra shabala aigagida loli sergid wase tamrun aiche matna batak wase gida engaria of course baby regid ngara pacific nomrot tediam tok enga umra wase ndekal gidel diom tok ngira do mes wase tiagida albangani ablura shabal tiagida lorurina ablura shabal wase aigagida blalo sergid wase ngamru legidel ngara Pacific clase perkhenit bodo wes lo laba matar mlaga di ngara garbel wada de do sao bodo dangi lo ngara tamruri bodo spera semon haga se mar evaluator tel tol el absorbery el oruri lo terkasel high standard kota ngara bani roger safe el mergida adrablo man for example, Prime Minister Brown, I'm not a Shaban. Albang dimla ba Fukushima dimla Tokyo marahan. Alsum ka mataklala Pacific Forum, mura Fukushima bam understand. Ila kadi mom talk to me. That should be as a leader and giran ngariya el mesang mo understand. Mang kita of course kada Pacific al ludal girel sedo asen girel tapo isirgid din dekan makita lo kanya akagaro usul de sweder ko sige sel ko trungil ndi wa blue bela ngania debate ra ro toy oy ma selo boro el bil ndekal dil yesa ro koy ngania kwase kamera sa tia mang gumra lo ase seguida adrortri ko ase kamera boda objective to belang ko dora lakadi da doseng nuclear tiang makit, bodoh asal wase, merasen makit ni. Ada siapa wase, gimana mesa sen makit ni, gimana tadi, metiam namo treated, awalnya absuara, we treat it and release it. Metiadi moyor gitu wase, kalau mara sistem, kalau mara ikan report tertikan scientist, ngari beberapa scientist teknologi, nomor tertiadi makit. Di el altama Korea, masina already tulis tiaran. Mau, so. Kamakarang mungkin musto baik kita ambil wase at the end of the day I mean sel dodong ni wase akol al muter makitra igar tablo moise akol ulang virus or igar belwa del dia so ngira del no me sertial arang lela igar lu ngari rablula de wase ngara igar se de los pe el nia kutmok la igal belwad ma igal dospe ede kal tamli tial luge laklang arige mang gira del hombre se sigue de mang nga ko mbra lo sia blo sia bal ngar sel gotel ngara sel gotel el gargi kri o se ayel oru la de kal bol tamli luge laklang arige era dra sia bala tirga me se ongerun magama tre agotem no experience ter to waise nungu tu bamlong di mung sel dungura kargikra ulspel ma umitela yaklalo et kargikring to ma en tial mom kar mestri lowrer an mut mi sel el ulda el wal lolisi sel ulda so ase tirga ngambral kargikra sea ukno se del mesang leng raul et kargikla tiada global mora masyar global mora belau mal dingar adbir et really sri emdeng lo ase tirgar adar tial bulo adar omnget de kalsi tomli tial loge laklangar lo tiro speni rabe kalsi
The follow up president so tiai del elak the ablur bela wa direct pride itself direct moral is for its environmental stewardship sel leading role ngira adrical ocean conservation ma at environment so tiai gidel decision gidel koram na morse a supporter tial to nuclear waste isn't that in any way koramo impact sa gidel leadership role gidel region silbo dong adu ngado kora wasay kada protect niya ta pertiang kadu kora di mo gidel tangan masawa ta to kora igam kalibol kora mo impact sa gidel leadership role
umra sang mal bay mal smisi legida umra to kora sang gidel spera semmong hagase data and science me mru ortrok lagi lulda sumalubang igel dorul ndeka dida tiamakit makstobri leng ngari aklung yolen tiamakit makara make sure en akantilak ngul make sure en kada protector im ndeka tob eser klung yolen dos peri esel sumpodam sadara atogora adabet tial coal los peri ablo shabra el time abai kotel makit then create tial do mo sen global warming mo ulam mo matamala jellyfish ri de matamala ay gagi dele maran dergid edre kan maran mong gasa angalet mungira de lomeser tial blo adal arrol de kal se blokti o saktim sa tial lugi laklangar ede mo ser tial aygal impact tial rogir ngo ay set to bra sa no mesra aged el mora almol gira de no meser de gadida aygal dorur tial bebul aged adir kan ngare tal melel mora ada ngo sil to al sumat mospe akol enam da los pa nuclear which ngare aktung yolen ngare tal melel mung gira de mo balance aygal to gida part of high level ocean panel mgada malera blula drase 100% management say gidan mar bduri 80% protected mung gira de protect ospea a will semong el hagase lon ma seurgid el make sure agel dorul amral de galtamla lugi laknargid e bay sobakli esmisi
so el presidente kum sa Mr. Climate Global agari le lutel mem
no hala bay dik adra imo tirgagi de lom to gagi del tiagi del alps abay promote deep sea mining deep sea mining mal dirigat bon mereka subul giren ese lo sabe ta sende agi sendera robat mor serio mugadi mral mudra alu bendia temna otira sende agi mor serio melmot meni mtiagi mo gimor top der tial gim timira bertakla المهم ملغورين دا يكلا عديال الموت المرضى مثل دغوية تيا قدر لا بلوم الول سبيدرين تيال دا البلوم غير بلوم الرار el se mo impact ra tunal do speri el se mo impact emrurir tial de betel gida osperi maulang triga gida sisil adal sa dai au ngara bital sorry el mihis na pertak mo kada mo inconsistent maulang kada uktire kalor to sa se kap tri la kartilang hale dilera o mihis pertak lan tila kama kamala otra kliro se tila ngara impact ni gira dal lurtuira science madeira era da shabala se tegido gimo subri agi da record agi mo spera ai el subi o tabli objective report e transparent process so sulang ragere
can I sell was a tira gidel ad mosada tira Mark Brown ra Cook Islands.
Why say this is lad
Okay, albora lilani.
kamal malora da luiri git magu kailande anyway sometimes again di blatak le Mr. Kasole adam
Mr. President, the comment on the labor issue, the multiple couple of questions in the Tora Fukushima. I get a studies and matter, then as you mentioned, that they're going to tell you blam receive say take it a clungel cell say it the treated nuclear waste and also is brother. They're going to tell it's safe. Pacific Island Forum am had a scientist tira cook expert to era nuclear el mo ora super tengi provide opinion tira el mora forum mela awana question say also mal clean it treated the safe tel el realm lo sparing ira Fukushima ngara masyaba da kalos sparing is recycled water al sabla syaba lo to in mataw did they ever discuss that with you that question ever come up lenga awan regular recommendations tigel scientist el mora la ka with ma forum wala say there are other ways el users el realm rather than it to in morada
kadungula suwar mo flash ring diri kaldi morada
yeah and that's another but there's other recycling capacities ilos peringi but I mean those are some of the questions that were raised maul makadoge la se un ngaring ako rabel explain ang isel time la se ngaray kel baby ra recommendations ra
so lang ako ra field mo dek understanding klo teklodan every day diral teral madimra every day dekal stop maul te dem ko tanga dem ke katang Hindi eventually mo de kasi del tia limol blue siya bala di mo tanga kung sum kada dem ko ray tanga eventually tia ran magirel to dering number what tending area ulle ding area aba remote train ngela blue mo igal el basho abai question ase al sum tilagi da ul deswed inganam de kada planning mo rasina da planning mo korea material rogo los pa nuclear plant lo bilis osil Ralma.
See a follow-up question.
Yeah, so I guess in other areas a double standard. Girel sushiwa a standard de los pairing. Why say?
Just a question. El follow-up del question na kami mention na Korea masina. Korea dire kami statement tingin masyabal el girel tel. Ito ba dali la Ralma morata. Ikaw tel mention na siya Korea itself a release dire kal release ga Ralma mor. Mang Korea masina ang release el morata.
Ubing. Legal spell mga lokal tagan siya. Igal the rods. So ngani igel release retiala mga lokal ngani sigidel tritinium ringi ding a level niya ba ilmuto ngarbab retial bol release niya siya ba
okay dia kome active ne aska igel clarify na baby statement
mang ngari IEA ulang ngari agirel el body lo mesrablula de make sure and protect the gider o agirel objective Why say? So those objective wala ka lang makpitang. Tiya wal judge ro mes tial to ko. ngari tiro ngari ayel personal do swir sometimes ay mo momli kersel daseng ngul do swir arbekla del girel tabsula adomesri mung tiada deka dorura doring na tora imorada ukto tolmal ra imorada girel tabsula omru mung apa yo mesing ngar segi del point asing girel tabsula omru mung oi maybe se adrospel girel yam di tiaklo ran mani am the question I think was saying tiang am the mix ring rasmen kasi well depend rasing alsum ngari aktol kan traction sendi tial momongol tiaran melol takarina tora ko ban murak mungera diregal el call expense amo ba tiaran melol ngaktri ako di meskem example am ganek traba bel aral mel ngul mura Tokyo el mosper tiaran let's say flash at toilet what is the benefit kam na spend rakol amount energy waste resource and in the end the everything ends up in the water so abay important kasi treating mosper science and make sure it's safe ebom releasing whether you're releasing it say adang so sige daw ukto mesri mo sel tabsul omru sige akla to tele malsum ko apply alsum ko na kasi tigida standard tigida safe itirang ari or safe engari or trigal baiton ari tir ningaram ko dok maloring la tokortir sometimes akwa sing politics are multranse maybe loading la tokortir ada shabala malmol madakhtros pe a nuclear power plant masel close enta benefit ta benefit
I have no idea.
tiga trako so ora di mo mesase hindi ka nga rabitero sa climate change sa cloud tutorial nga rabitero sa neutral mala mo marakola I got they become conflicting ideas so
the other question the clarification sel dula sa sabala ma kongela sen sabela ernukinil madura bela masabal ngaral process ng tospe agel landing rights agi dal ngara difference se makuktitil connectan masabal
ela ernugini sel director nugini masabal di sel bel lender bela el masabal en walos pe agel dasing fifth freedom agel lamal tedel masabal nding gira la shabal gongel wase tospe segidel shabal wase ndegagi ngirul dasu maging supporter mera ka mal dim ngelo ra dalu gile wasem bomreli tial flight tak mula se ka hale mo gi tial flight ra lu gile mer belat yo kamal dig ba aum ka sen de hala ka dosi krolele mruli se der australia mo se to ka tourist australia mi so step by step de artista asim namna open elaga di dulia business case ma erno gini mo confidence ti asing ada se bakal mong che that we can make money. Ultimately, if they don't make money, they don't want to fly. I see.
Okay. The more question mo ba budget kung na-mention na siya kung ilang time ko mrula internal review ra budget. Ikal Amerikal telaragi budget ra government has been kept at 10% level. Mang ngaringi o mesal mo increase lara kaya I'm thinking la segel 10% tamlo regel wa ngani gel baby na program sa maluwing maintenance o nga dir kal makatmok kal mo ka ngani o kung project lo sa budget ng mas la kal ubing kung keep it at the same level
kadi bla takla do because kada mne masong sa budget rigid ngani gel critical la position sirgida del field del field activo spera example la police vice president el director hace al minimum que spera 65 الأضرب patrol يجي ده أنا دوري 5 رينا so you expect us المرور أوين وريار يجي مسكوا manpower same thing راجل it's a combination of both يجي ده make sure enough for staffing of course يجي الواتورا maintenance ما يجي مقدري قمنا hold back We just had a cell economic consultation ng mga blue American. Nartia Secretary Cantor ma ngel ngel nga Department of State Baird. Mlekaw tutlal al direk al uk reng sa gel challenges ergit. Temno titial uk our economic challenge if the compact is not passed by October. What Palau will face and why it's important and get el passer. So I think for the executive branch, I guess at this time restore I get 10%. A state government they got tam increase. All bill increase. The executive branch has been held back. Well, at this time restore 10%. I'm lutel mes I get critical to hospital, to school, to justice, which although the compact agirel matmok lagi, let's improve those services. So I gave the maklo to trel el gira del milisi. So it's money to restore, and at the same time kadiri kalomes sel accommodation or last year naria $60 per payday. Yeah, so compact we want to add another $60, so that would be $120 per employee per department. The same was last year, I'm separate line item, so the budget will look very different. Ang motibo mo hindi sige da so da accommodate. So the restore, so that make sure nga enough ludo dal lugot mo klayel important services if gida probably the other.
So restore 10% ang area possibly increase on top of
Nada.
that.
Well, still increase el ludo no. Salary rather that's about 10 million. Salary increase alone is about 10 million. I think 5 last year and then another 5 this year. Yeah.
So nila di budget related Mr. President. Alde, usubis. Oh, tiagid. So ikal budget sel moru lang ang ngi sel kora. Ngara kora mo focus ra budget ayos ang angara 2024. Al sugo mga udo dra compact because yung most of funding the other than siyang nga kami nagtalugan at finance to say 87% ra funding amora fixed cost mga rangtel kasi mga ako para beside siya nga ako ra udo dal mo top dal ko ra mo mestring ako ra let's say for example mora infrastructure mora social services mora school mora rangtel ngari am ko focus sir ngiro special funding ra
gal focus kita mal di focus rara so ngudu de rara namo gira de lo ngasa udu de rara igual service el most critical service hospital education school ma ayagi de ebla police aya gira de focus igual efforts ergid and make sure and improve igual service len masaba krara again nagtulong il program la announce Ministry of Education aige gira del fund del mutris misi continue to upgrade our sensory expect more pay them more same thing at tora auguru number one complaint ra hablo sa hospital ida maltal malama yes for the last 3 years we've had to live with a 10% cut now in ngari audo let's invest ra hospital ida I mean fix again talmal al rehab it needs to be fixed. Besides building a new hospital, say okay, long term and then a short term, yeah, the good maklil al mongil. O sisil to a plan mora abla bulis. Kita dari kami sing area under sir compact agreement, area 5 million for infrastructure, area 5 million for maintenance. Tara do missing a tour infrastructure one of our program Selbessel school. Kadomra say but Selbessel school the school are required. Require ral madengin morsel el basho. So we need to build infrastructure to get it there and then plan and design a new school. So I get it maran. And that's part regal, planning that we have to invest in our children. The other benefits are local because now there's money for education, health, justice, nga table free pa vibra udodale. For example, airport trigida, tigel lower airport training ertira amlalapse, and we need to invest in their training. So also building a capacity tigel other, whether an airport, the sensei, the police, we need to build up their capacity and make sure they're prepared and look mrulaigal ururgida are responsible for to ensure a safety there other.
So,
Kada mlisi ragay elang we need to deliver better services in other.
I see. So lang Mr. President, tiyan din ako ulit tele korti lang ding question lang ako Minister Jenkins. So President ako sa tangani Sensen mo retire. Okay. So and we've been having fewer teachers, challenge to get more teachers on board. So ngara plan, what is the plan to get more teachers on board for the next school year and moving forward?
Well, the next school year, immediate plans are, we have a cohort of teachers who have been attending university classes to get their bachelor's of education. They should be finishing that degree, we're hopeful, by the end of the end of the calendar year. We are restructuring our special education department, and as some of those teachers graduate, they are graduate with specialist in special ed. One of the things people didn't realize is that our special ed program was in a state of non-compliance for the past 5 years. And by initiation of that cohort program of giving people college degrees in special ed, they will then be able to go into those special ed classrooms. And so some of the special ed teachers who have been teaching or doing administrative work in special ed are now going to be available as needed to be putting into the schools. The other thing which we're doing is that people need to realize we're under right now almost exactly 12-month deadline to all teachers must have at least an associate degree. So we are starting in August a cohort program for our current teachers who do not have an associate's degree to get that taken care of, hopefully by the end of before the end of the deadline. So those are the immediate. The long term means we need to give our teachers, as the president has said, a competitive salary. And that's what we're structuring with our faculty certification program, which is 99% finished. Our budgeting on that is almost set in terms of a salary scale, and we hope to be presenting that to the president this year. But that will give us a long-term possibility of attracting teachers who are Palauan or non-Palauan, who are living in the U.S. or something, who are looking for a different role in teaching to come here. I feel very comfortable that if we can get that salary structure taken care of, we will be able to recruit qualified teachers to come here to teach for 1, 2, 3 years, because that's an organization pattern which I've used in other schools out here, and it works very well. Once we get them here for 2 or 3 years, they're going to stay.
And then let me just add one more thing that we want to add to sell idea mruti al skura overall. Yena maldura ngesaramla kongel miskida about 300,000 square meters.
Yes.
So part of Seruda, so I say the K through 12 high school, but include with that maramo kaya pink apartment, kaya sire, maybe some type of housing, and direct help para get the sorry transition or sell me, and sorry mo sense help by God school. I mean these are ideas that we have. We need to look at that. Jaiga direct was we want to build a facility there, direct and help para. So this is just some ideas. One of the challenges around it, of island. So, yeah.
Additionally, in speaking with the people from Eastern Oregon University, they are very anxious to work with us to structure students' degrees so as to maybe fill needs which we have here. So they're going to be working with us to modify the maybe majors as they go through the school, so that maybe while they're not thinking about being in education now, by the time they're a junior or senior, they can do so, and then they can major in that and do their student teaching here. So that they're very interested in focusing a lot of their work toward getting the students who graduate from that school ready to come back to Palau to help.
So lang Minister Jenkins. Agri ka mo ra, Vice President. Vice President, a month ago, akim latiang yamidiam le take part at le hand of almost $150,000 from the Taiwan Embassy, mora blabulis. El gire la K9 program. Kasi mo kati update rigi der segi lo sing wangarang program ilang.
Mal masaule mal sabi kal update talang QTI dial internal budget hearing amlo sabi la a director labit talo ay sa president ma minister sa mle kalibilar say. So segi de ludo dablalungul mo ol nga seoray ka kitale toktang ara arbilis mo sabi lo mesra arbilis vet lo nga seoray arbilis mang mo sabi mo healthy ay kal bilis mga sige ludo dra Taiwan amlo nga seoray say kidial part dire kal ngani gel kora amlo mate sesering ludo dire kalo nga seora ay dire upkeep ma training rabilis di ulo ay sa director was at malmol spe funding to be able to support the segidel K9 unit. Right now director amla identified our terul bulis ela lorio say malamol sigar bulis el mos el assign del kukmo segidel K9 unit. Mga maldeway sila ko niya president talwasay nga song sa personnel ilang ara police mga say mga ko gilal while builder say kitial al K9 unit. Ding work is ongoing to help revitalize mutal malisi ertegidal program ertegidal K9 lorior say the K9 unit and maybe present wants to add. Okay.
Can I hold on that? I'm going to go backwards a little bit sa question. So, kinal tilagi del ludo dra K9. Sel ne donation of Taiwan 150,000. Nani ako rato lo ase to mo o tabadia 90,000 ringil mo hire a vetal ingel vetal ngarbela mo o mesaigal arma. Mang ngora makluludo tel 90,000 el mo pera adel ni already full time el betel business ng arbelaw take care abilis ongerong la kalbiden dia ka trainer elang regal bilis dia ka certified mang bulgula sen dia ka sabi el lo spera case el laboratory get thrown out mang in the meantime, el kaluto ng aning maldi hindi mo makabilis take care dia ka progress ring.
Amal masawratil algarim is el contract understanding ang kaltakalong nga director long term. Gimadong wasing 5 years long-term contract. So that's really good for sige talamang 90,000. Engang mo full-time, ngidil problem na release at tungoy titil mong an island, mang easier to provide their sige care lo sparing tirikal K9 bilis. As to the trainer, maral to ko yung gelmle trainer amla mle resign, ko amle enda contractor niya I believe. Ding kal al director is very skilled. Ang kama na, hindi ka nga niya experience yung train na arbili sumang. He's gonna be step in and do the training while they're looking for a new trainer to come on board. Malamol tial training arbili sumay kagidal kalela umat maklil. He's very confident that wasing mo sabi trikal bilis and mo perform ay already kasi akan mal go into details and then say the coordinated border management I think by executive order yung tabadi president mo makalori our customs sa immigration material gid nga border control mang ngori lo menteri mati after tarpang for that korawaya lungila almarare lang
Di maldi ko gali follow up.
Oy.
Is he a certified trainer?
Yes. Di lo nga kalmulwa sing certified trainer.
Can we see credentials?
Yes.
Okay. Hindi ako man sulang nga gere Vic apologize ngari Minister Conroy gel Minister Australia nga tel holding argid gira mal mometer ira 12 oy ora 11:30 mak akti so kali fala ngari bebila dim naktu makti adro aseng program emro ga continue tel press conference ra next time. Okay, so take it. Link global ak na so komda attenderi sema lungil aiseleng namose adel mala gagi dele text tadangara hato be ma sonsorol the level cell compact consultation that was the first that we've had. You know, it was supposed to kadam lagi dal malira 2010 adim na kadam lil merela digam na sular am real finally tia motel dra bekra review where we are our economic situation and help together tia review that we're supposed that we're of course just finished and will be upcoming in the next on the 40th anniversary. Diregal mlo hotel akil wase morablo namrigel wase it's critical US Congress had passed 90 million rela ragal hilo mskit. So we need to, that was an important thing in the share of the State Department by interior wase lagal passer say klo impacting. Elegida malmol wase yes, it's 1 year early, but because of COVID and all of this, we need it now. Mang partra ngara leather yiradel of course kadam laduli kada askra olbira galulaw look mo to the resolution till support till uldaso whether we call it a ratification lo tin mo ablom rigel because close to tela do tin mo ablom this is important to us lende katso dal dilen mo following year was and lang so we just delay it 1 year and they are delayed and actually that's when we're supposed to implement it. So important that we get it as soon as possible. And on that note, so next month in July, we are hearing about conducting the congressional side, Senate House. We invite the hearing in a House. So from July 11 to July 20, most likely in Washington, Minister of Finance mo Madadura tigel sa dito na Congress ra blom real mutre emphasize sa importance sa passage tia diregal so otherwise was a toka conference that are going on right now. There's a fintech conference that's going on at Blue Palau. There's another one that will happen in August. Diregal our solda mera Belar el Alman next month ma following month ngari amal potokal look visits term activity edringanal conference Jay Hapsen and Morira Mandara August diregal so otherwise was saying there's a current conference that's going on the Auxil sub-regional private sector climate finance workshop marera Palejare lang kadamra suli rukne choose belal Moria conference so important tagal conference diregal help pergi dan diregal tourist tia help pergi promote travel work. Lastly, next week, Maria possibility amodibus na next week, like mora visit agel bulwadar aroy, mora hatobe mason sorol, tiradara senkyo ding ada pok sada senkyo ak momesa project tukul langit, edire ok momesa agel bulu ukte al kadamong edire obagila patrol boat edire patrol hopefully Nick mo text me. No, and I have a sat phone. So just in case, I'll always be there. And of course, the link global, it's an opportunity to use it. Lastly, قبل ما نسولف تريال أكتوبر تسلسل ستير الأجيلز التيرا مشهورة قبل من تريد الرجوي من there's 8 birthday الأجيلز. So let's wish a happy birthday and more Marina Udui. Gangarsel Public Law Access Unit, Diregal Cyril Fuzumi, El Ngara Civil Aviation, our airport, El Miss Musubud, El Miss Rulugud, Ngara Blue Ngayangal. Yes. Ngara Rolbira Blue, Madiregal Mighty Adlul, and Ngara Olbira Lulau. Clint Mother Aloy. Ngara Bureau of Public Works, Sadang Osar, Ngara Customs and Biosecurity, Efrin Tele, Ngara Bureau of Aviation, Minister Stephen Victor, happy birthday. So, as you know, kadana mo comprehensive. Rugul adal tira public servant, whether tanga state and national, kada recognize tira ma all bira kululaw. Kadamal mga sulir contribution tira mo rabulwat and wish them a happy birthday. Dios ron mo tanga tra abulwat rabulur belaw, marbek la adar belaw, kamal misuna.